All right, so there are 7 interactive 90-minute sessions on Zoom in this interface, which is, we think it's fabulous. You see everybody in the class except for the few people who come in on voice only. And we all get to know each other. Everything is recorded. So a lot of people can't make all the live classes, or some of them don't make any because they live in time zones that don't work. Like Eastern Europe just doesn't work. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. But Australia and New Zealand work pretty well. So we have a fair number of people from there. So you don't have to be live in the class. If you miss a class, you know, everything is on one single web page for you. All the videos, all the homework, everything is on one web page. You get the URL for it, and it's always the same. This is a practicum. You don't have to, and I'll say more about that in a second, but you are encouraged to do home altar, 1 or 2 home altar constellations, and you can share them with us or not. Some we process in class together. Others get, you know, the labeled pictures of the stages of a given constellation, its evolution, the movements. We put them on the private secret Facebook group, and there's a thread that's discussing them, and this has been really good for everybody. The thing about this work is there's no time pressure. There's no client pressure if you're doing one for yourself. There's no group management pressure. And you can document the stages of the constellation with smartphone pictures. Now, these are, to be able to do this, you know, a living constellation in a, you know, a group workshop, it flies by, it moves, and yeah, people try to talk about them afterwards, but they can't go back and look. This is just a wonderful way to develop your skills here. And let's just see if we're still where we want to be. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look at how-tos and some more examples. So let's get the thing rolling here. And we're a little bit out of place. Not sure why. All right, some of the how-tos. So we'll be talking to you about, you know, creating your altar, about how to set up, how to visit. Here's just some quick, I'm going to skim through this very quickly. Here's a quick look at some more little constellations and some of the things that you want to see about the right size, some seclusion, etc. The rule of thumb about this is your altar should be big enough that the object persons have space to move around. So this one here, it's getting a little crowded, but it's good. Setting up intuitive or random placement. If your mind knew the answer, you wouldn't do this. Random works. Somehow the deeper reality speaks when we get our mind out of the way. Here's how to do visitations and how often to do them. It's different for different people. This is an experimental process. I'm a solution-focused therapist, and so I will be talking to you about, I don't think constellations work that well if you don't focus them. So, and I think they work best if your quote issue or your theme, as some people say, is the change that you want to see, the thing that it's, you know, stated positively. So I don't kind of want to hear, I don't want to stuff myself in the evenings. What I want to hear is, well, what do you want to be like in the evenings instead of that? What are the feelings, and what feelings do you want to have? This is, I won't say anything about this here, but you can come back and look at it. This is one of the ways to start an altar. Um, what you're looking for with the altar is the most likely blocking dynamic in the personal or ancestral field. And once you've got that, you begin to look for ways to help that system evolve towards a better energy flow. We spend a lot of time on, and this is the other part of the how-to that I'll skim through. You will learn an awful lot about symbolism and unpacking symbols. You have a natural ability to work with symbols. You may not realize that, but everybody does, because our whole language is built on metaphors. And I am somebody who does not want to only intuit, only, quote, be in the field, unquote. I'm happy to use my mind at times too. I don't think really you can make a, rigid distinction between these two. So I will be talking to you about how to use intuition and analysis, if you will, together. But it's very simple to see, what kind of symbolism a little object person has. It's got a size and a shape and a color and so on. And when we get over here a little further, I'll show you again. So, there's stuff that emerges. We call those blossoms, and we don't make bouquets out of them too quickly. We collect a lot of blossoms at first. We do that by just whatever hits us, whatever emerges, and then looking at all these simple things about whatever is on the altar. And then we also look at who's the same size, shape, color, or, whoops, sorry, hang on, let's go back. Slip of the finger. Who's like, I'll show you that in a second when we get over here. We start to look at arrays. I call it array analysis. I really, the whole point about home altar constellations is to, stay, what the Europeans call, and my teachers called, the phenomenological stance, which I want to call avoid premature closure. Avoid premature closure. Keep your mind open. Take the whole system in. Soft focus. So the simple metaphorical way that I describe this is the symbols that emerge and that you may pick up via analysis, they're just blossoms. You just fill your basket with blossoms, and you don't build bouquets too quickly. You wait to see which of those blossoms start to make patterns and which of them start to fall away. Here's a quick look at a constellation that we'll analyze in detail. This is the client here. This is her mother. This is a kind of stuckness that she has, and this is the anger that she feels. This is a beautiful constellation done actually in the home altar class. This lady was sophisticated enough with computers that she actually we did this as a group, and she took these pictures and sent them to us in real time. And the first thing, the first little blossom that popped out here was that this little thing here on mother's head, which she's carrying, kind of has the same shape as this. So, and of course, the idea here is, well, is Anita carrying her mom's burden in some sense? And her stuckness looks like mom's burden. So first thing we did was put the stuckness there. In fact, it didn't stay there. It fell off. It stayed there for a second, but it fell off. And I'm not going to go further with that right now, but you can begin to see how we do this. Are we doing what are they good for now? Or are we going back to, no, we're going back to training management. To the course itself now. Okay, so screen share stopped. Sandy, are you going to talk about the Zoom interface now?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
Ever since we started with Zoom, we have a lot more possibilities than we did with the teleclass. With the teleclass, we would talk about what was going on in someone's home altar constellation, and then we would direct you to our webpage where you could see the visuals that we put up. But with the video training, Michael's able to do the screen share, and we can see his lovely presentations. So in addition to that, we can see each other, which is something that people seem to really like. Finally, they can see their presenter, Michael, other than just seeing still shots of him. So that's very nice. But we have.
I mean, let me jump in for a second, because okay. I mean, if there were 20 of us here, you would see a small picture of everybody except for the people who came in on voice. But you know, and it's very interesting. You really you get to know people in a much richer way.
And it sort of appears like the Brady Bunch window, you know, where you can see a bunch of people. So it's really neat. And when I handle the video, basically what's on my screen is what gets recorded. So if Michael goes to a question and answer session, we show everybody so we can see them asking the questions and Michael answering. And then we can also see people visually raising their hands. In addition to that, everyone has their own little functions that they can do. You have the ability to mute yourself, which we usually ask that you do.
Aren't you going to show them the screen share?
I can do that.
Yeah, because I mean, I sent you that picture, right? Yeah. Now, the reason that I have a weird looking face in this picture was that we had so much trouble getting this part going, and now you're going to forget it. I can't let you forget it.
I know.
There's me trying to cope with the computer stuff.
All of our screenshots came up wrong, and this was the best one. But if you look at the bottom of the screen, you have a button where you can mute yourself audibly. Stop video means you are no longer sharing your own video. So let's say you need to have a little snack or speak to someone else in your household. Stopping your video might be what you want to do, so everyone doesn't see you coming in and out.
That's really the etiquette here. The etiquette here is, if you have background noise, mute yourself. And if you're doing something really weird that is distracting, okay, then mute your video, because we see you. If you're eating a big sandwich and talking to somebody, it's hard not to watch you doing that. So.
Right. And you also have other controls that once you start the class, we'll go more into what you can do. But you do have the ability to raise your hand, on the screen as opposed to your real hand if you have a question for Michael. We also have a chat board. This isn't something that Michael usually goes along with his presentation, so he isn't monitoring the chat, but I am. So if there are questions, if we didn't see somebody with their hand up, or we didn't hear them because they were muted, they can put it on chat. Or sometimes people just want to share resources with each other, with the rest of the class. But we will go into a lot more of that when we start the class.